I'd like to add, this is a poem by Robert Frost set to music. Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away, as uncertain harvest keep us here, all simply in the springing of the year. Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night, and make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating round the perfect trees, and make us happy in the darting bird that suddenly above the bees is heard, the meteor that thrust with the needle bill, and off the blossom in mid-air stands still.
That hymn is in our larger hymnal, but I just thought Anne was the person that could do it justice, and she did, didn't she? Thank you, Anne. And now, I don't think I need to introduce our speaker, Jim Reay. His positive attitude and his sunny spirit is a welcome flower in our bouquet of people. Jim's sermon today is what a bouquet of people we are.
Thank you, Anna. Let's stop and smell the roses. Oh, what a bouquet of people we are. There's a touching story about a bus that was bumping along a back road in the south. In one seat, a wispy old man sat holding a bunch of fresh flowers. Across the aisle was a young girl whose eyes came back again and again to the man's flowers. The time came for the old man to get off. Impulsively, he thrust the flowers into the girl's lap. "I can see you love the flowers," he explained, "and I think my wife would like for you to have them. I'll tell her I gave them to you." The girl accepted the flowers, then watched as the old man got off the bus and walked through the gate of a small cemetery. We originate from different cities, different states, and even different countries. Yet we gather here this morning as a beautiful bouquet of West Valley Unitarian Universalists. If you were a flower, would you be a hollyhock, tulip, iris, lilac, geranium? Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "The earth laughs in flowers." The earth laughs in flowers. We all like to leaf through our memories. While we're doing it, we can rekindle a moment or an interlude in our lives that may have been amusing, thrilling, or profound. This morning, I hope that talking about, singing about, and reminiscing about flowers will renew a fond memory of your relationship to flowers. It may be a favorite variety, or your birth month flower, or a relative's favorite flower. We live in an incredibly beautiful world, a world full of color, blue sky, green grass, green cactus, and a vast array of colorful flora and fauna. Our daily enjoyment would suffer without the cornucopia of vibrant plants and flowers. Bluebell, buttercup, marigold, aster. Even burdock has a beautiful purple flower. Walt Whitman said, "A morning glory at my window satisfies me more than the philosophy of books." A single flower or a huge bouquet may express love, remembrance, apology, support, or simply a thoughtful gesture. Throughout human history, flowers have played a significant role as gestures and gifts. Although specific meanings and traditions may change, flowers remain a part of our human connection. Floriography, or the language of flowers, extends back hundreds of years in history as a way for people to communicate. Ancient Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, and Chinese all refer to the use of flowers in their stories and myths. The Greeks considered flowers to be of particularly high importance and associated them with the gods. Evidence exists that giving flowers has been a significant part of culture since the Middle Ages. In the mid-1700s, the significance increased when the French and English, while visiting Turkey, discovered an entire language of flowers which gave meaning to different flower types. From this, the Victorian culture created a meaning for every characteristic of a flower. Azalea, poppy, baby's breath, rose, begonia. Victorians living in an era when people did not believe in expressing emotion found the language of flowers to be an acceptable form of expression. In typical fashion of the Victorian era, great effort and detail went into giving meaning to everything about the flower: its color, size, condition, any accompanying flower, and even flowers' position in relation to other flowers, all conveyed meaning without saying a word. For example, a flower presented to someone upside down meant the opposite of its supposed original meaning. The way in which flowers were presented or received, and which hand was used, also held meaning. Black-eyed Susan, daisy, carnation, chrysanthemum, clover. Books and guides created during the Victorian period served as a decoder for those receiving and giving flowers. What you might today say in a text message or email could be sent without a single word, provided you knew the meaning of the flower and its characteristics. The flower language books, however, were not all written by the same author or in the same time period, so it could have been that the giver and receiver had a different interpretation of the gesture. My friend Jamshid, a refugee, now a citizen from Afghanistan, who I met through this church, and I taught him to drive a number of years ago. His family lived in a subsidized apartment in downtown Glendale. And one day when I went for his driving lesson, I decided to bring a plant. I chose a yellow chrysanthemum. I like them because they last a long time, and yellow is nice and bright. So they accepted the flower, And the next time I saw Jamshid, he said, "Jim, is there some reason you gave us a yellow plant?" I don't think I offended him, but to many cultures, these old Victorian ideas still hold true about the meaning in a color or the type of flower given. Sunflower, Sweet William, Clematis, Violet, Wisteria. The history of flower giving continues to be written. In the United States, it might have once seemed inappropriate for a woman to give flowers to a man. Today, it no longer registers as out of the ordinary. Virtual flowers and internet florists provide new ways to deliver virtual or real flowers anywhere in the world. Technological and scientific advances allow for year-round blooms of every type of flower. Though most people no longer know the old-fashioned meaning of many flowers, we still use flowers to convey sentiments to others. Zinnia, Coreopsis, Crocus, Daffodil, Dahlia. Flowers create a special language of their own. The meaning of flowers, herbs, and leaves has been written about for centuries. Each book written may proclaim a different meaning, but the meaning of flowers are, after all, whatever you want them to be. The bloom of a dandelion given by a small child holds as much love as a rose given by an admirer. Various flowers can create interesting conversation. Definitions are dependent on color, size, buds, or full blooms, and whether they are alone, paired, or in bouquets. A lot to remember when trying to pick out just the right flower for someone special. Forget-me-not, Forsythia, Gardenia, Orchid, Pansy. Just the mention of a flower's name can remind us of color, smell, and perhaps a place where we saw it grow or enjoyed it displayed. Peony, Hyacinth, Lady Slipper, Lily of the Valley, Honeysuckle. These are a few of my favorite memories of flowers. Bringing pussy willows to Mrs. Olson, my kindergarten teacher. I remember it was kindergarten because my older brothers and sisters had already left for school. I went to the afternoon kindergarten session. So just before the bus came after my lunch, close to noon, my mother walked down to our pond and pulled down some branches and snipped some fresh pussy willows for me to bring to my teacher. I don't remember if she bound them with twine or wrapped them in newspaper, or whether I just clutched them in my hand as I climbed the school bus steps. But I do remember bringing pussy willows to Mrs. Olson. I remember pressing my nose into the deep fragrance of a huge, welcoming Easter lily bloom. Recognizing the natural beauty of dandelions, and yes, I picked some for my mother. It's a treat to see a dandelion in Arizona. Learning the names of flowers that grew around my home, some naturally, wild in the pastures and woods, and others cultivated with nurturing care. I remember in 7th grade fashioning an artwork for Mother from pieces of colored Easter egg shells into the shapes of tulips. carefully glued onto black construction paper. My work of art was proudly displayed for years under the glass top of our tea cart. Do you remember completing this cute poem? Roses are red, violets are blue. I remember Mrs. Zerold's beautiful rose garden. She and Dr. Zerold, who lived not too far from us, I worked for a number of years, amongst other young men, to tend their 10 acres of beautiful landscaping. And Mrs. Zerold prided herself especially on a beautiful rose bed of well over 100 rose plants. And on occasion, she would pick some beautiful buds for me to take home to my mother. And Grandmother Ray's flower garden. She gardened until her last year. Gardening was her favorite pastime, and she gardened until she was 90. She collected rainwater in a 55-gallon drum at the corner of her house because, of course, that was much more welcome than the cold hose. What are your favorite flower stories? I'll bet you have at least several to fondly remember. I like what Jim Carrey said. Flowers don't worry about how they're going to bloom. They just open up and turn toward the light, and that makes them beautiful. Bouquet is a beautiful French word for a cluster or arrangement of flowers. Bouquet also represents a fine aroma, a splendid fragrance. We Unitarian Universalists are like a bouquet. Sometimes just a cluster, other times a larger arrangement, but always striving to be complementary and cohesive. Bouquets usually pass the sniff test, and I hope that we as a group do too. Our differences make our togetherness more interesting, and we are firmly united in our covenant. I think we make good music together. Oh, what a beautiful bouquet of people we are.
Thank you, Jim. And now our closing hymn today is The Flower That Shattered the Stone, as sung and played by Joe Cleland. The words of this song are on the back of your order of service. Yes, I will.
Stay there.
Someone has gone as the river runs free. The mountain does rise. Let me touch with my fingers and see with my eyes in the hearts of the children of your love still like a bright star in heaven that lights the way. Oh, like the flowers that shadow the storm. Like a bright star in heaven that lights our way home. Like the flowers that shadow the
Thank you, Joe. And now the children, they're going to pass out the flowers today. And after we extinguish the chalice, we have a final song to sing. So they'll pass out a flower, you choose one that you like, and then we'll extinguish the chalice. Okay, does everybody have a flower? We have a lot of them, so if you want to, it looks like they've got some extra ones. If we have some left, Tom and Roz are going to come to my house for dinner tonight, and I'm going to take a bouquet to have them take a bouquet to Elaine. So anything that's left, we can bring them back up and put them in the vase here, please. And we'll take them, I'll take them for Roz and Tom to take to Elaine. Okay. Now we'll extinguish the chalice before we sing our final hymn, which is going to serve as the postlude. As we extinguish the chalice, please join in a unison reading of the West Valley mission statement at the bottom, or it's actually on the side of your program today. We agree to provide a safe place to celebrate diversity, draw inspiration for our lives, foster social and environmental justice, and compassionately support each other in our spiritual searches. And now to end our service, we'll stand as you hold your flower and sing number 1053 in the teal hymnal, Never Let Anyone. The author of this song, Libby Roderick, is a member of the Anchorage, Alaska Unitarian Universalist Church, and this song of hers is an inspiration to young and old all around the world. I've met Libby Riddle. She's a wonderful person. So let's sing this song with spirit. Stand and wave your flower. Thank you. Now go enjoy some refreshments and the heat.
I took my little 5-year-old. I actually liked it up the other day. She was sitting on the and she asked, could she be a flower? I thought she was talking about this. I used to she was sort of going out. And you guys did a really good job. And you sound right.